Hello, and welcome to another episode of Self-Improvement for Women. I am your host, Hope Long, and today I have a special guest. I have Cassandra Rosa with us today. She's an intuitive life and business coach, and our last conversation was amazing. We talked about millennials, we talked about, Gen Z and the struggle and everything in between. And yes, so Cassandra, I'm so excited that you're here today. I would love for you to let the audience get to know you a little bit and tell us more about, what you do and how you kind of came into this space.
Yeah, first, I want to thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you again. We has had such a blast last time, so I'm really excited to continue that. So I am an intuitive certified life coach and business coach, and my mission is to help coaches to create fulfilling lives and businesses with clarity and confidence. I'm also an award-winning author of the book Now What? Create the Clarity to Achieve Your Dreams, podcast host of the Clarity Conversations podcast. And my mission is just for people to have more of a purposeful, impactful, and fulfilling life and share that with the world so we can have a massive revolution of a bunch of fulfilled females, entrepreneurs, and coaches.
Yes. And I love that you said impactful. I think so many of us, I know a lot of the people that watch our show, they work 9 to 5, they work for somebody else. They'd like to get into the business space. They'd like to have that freedom and that time and, work from home and those kinds of things. And so the impact portion of that is finding something that you're really passionate about, right? That you could talk about for hours. But also that you feel good when you're helping somebody do that, right?
Yeah. I think it's as much as being a coach and a healer and a business coach, it really, you help other people's lives. It also comes back to you twofold of feeling just so grateful and warm-hearted, that little kind of, yes, I'm making an impact and I'm helping people. That instant gratification in a way of being able to help people is just so profound, and it creates this beautiful synergy with all the people that I work with.
Yes. And so what inspired you to kind of take this path into this industry?
Yeah. So long story short, from a really young age, I knew I wanted to make a difference in the world. I didn't really know what that meant, but I had this like make a difference, make an impact type of thing that I kept hearing at a very young age. So I thought maybe I'll be a teacher or a psychologist, because I used to, bless my sister's heart, force her to play teacher all the time. And I loved giving advice to people. So I went to school for psychology, and halfway through my degree, I had what I call like a now what moment. This calling for more and acknowledging that the path that I was taking probably had reached its expiration point. So come that point, I wanted to see through my degree, and I ended up doing a study exchange in Europe, and I fell in love with travel and getting to know people outside my scope, how other people interact. And from that place, I just was saying yes to so many opportunities. I ended up volunteering in Africa at an after-school program with kids. And from that place, I just fell in love with mentorship, just taking people under my wing and sharing what I know and helping them with those light bulb moments. But like many of us impactpreneurs and women that are starting fulfilling businesses, there's always this call back to like the traditional way of doing things of you got to get that corporate job and make lots of money. And I did that when I got back. The way that I kind of justified it was, I'll make a lot of money and I'll make a foundation one day. And I did insurance, taking over a family business, lived into that people-pleasing family paradigm as well. And I remember just sitting there and daydreaming of working from my laptop, having that freedom and helping people. And I didn't know what that meant, but it was like this pull, this intuitive nudge from the universe being like, there's something more for you. So I don't know if I was young and naive, but I ended up just leaving corporate, getting a sales and marketing job, and falling in love with personal development, taking courses all over North America. And it just started to feel good. It started to make sense of like, okay, personal development, coaching, mentoring, this is an industry that exists. And this is your path to kind of be like the teacher and the psychologist you've always wanted to be. So long story short, 2019, 6 months, I went from having my first launch to being a full-time entrepreneur, traveling from my laptop and kind of bringing that daydream that I had in my corporate job into fruition. And it's just so fulfilling. And I'm so grateful that my journey, everything happened from every now what moment to getting me where I am today and helping other women create fulfilling businesses and lives.
Yes, yes. And so in your book, Now What? We have all done this, right? We have all come to a crossroad, or we have all plateaued in some way or another in some area, right? And we're thinking, okay, well, what's next? Something's got to be next. This has to go somewhere else other than just, you know what I mean? And I know that a lot of us in the entrepreneurial space, sometimes we start a business and then we have another idea, and then another idea, and then another idea. And we don't really settle until we find something that we wake up and we're like, hell yes. Right. And so it's that alignment that you kind of found while you were, doing your studying and helping other people. And it just kind of lined up. And that's kind of, I know it's going to sound a little woo woo, but that's how the universe works. And that is how your energy works. As a person, you're emitting energy all the time, whether it's positive, whether it's negative, whether it's confused or, chaotic, whatever that looks like. It's going to come back to you. And so when you are doing those things that make you feel good, more of those feel good things will likely come your way. So for those that are watching right now and they're just getting into this space and they're just starting to gain traction and stuff, I'm going to tell you, hold on to your seats, right? Because it gets really exciting, and it gets a little bit chaotic, a little bit crazy, but if it feels good, keep going, right? Keep pushing.
Love it.
So last time we talked a lot about the millennial struggle, and I'm a millennial. I'm an elder millennial, as people call it. And so what we found in the last, 10, 20 years or so is that, I'm currently 31. So I'm in my 30s and I'm not having it with corporate. I don't want to work for a giant industry that doesn't know my name. I don't want to work for a company that I'm really not, my beliefs and my values don't line up with theirs, right?
Yes.
And we talked about this and how we're seeing more of this attitude come out. And they called it, what's it called? The Great Resignation, right? When everybody was like, COVID kind of happened too. And so everybody was like, wait a minute. I've been spending all this time. They actually had time to sit down at home and really evaluate their happiness. And then, they kind of found that they were lacking a little bit, right? So let's talk about this. I want to hear all of your view and all of your opinion on this.
Yeah, I wrote a lot about it in my book, actually, because a lot of my clients are millennials. And I found that we're like the trailblazing generation. As much as we're poo-pooed on by, the baby boomers, I find that we have really led this revolution of creating more fulfilling lives and businesses and not having to do the mainstream way of doing things, of getting this job and working there and having 2 weeks vacation. And then boom, when you retire, you can live your life. I really love to see the amount of millennials that are investing in themselves and their personal development, developing higher levels of self-awareness, dreaming, and not just dreaming, but doing, which I think is huge. To see how many millennials are traveling. I love going on Instagram and seeing like friends even from high school that are like going on this extravagant trips and meditation retreats and becoming yoga teachers. It's just beautiful to see that it's not a waiting to live.
Yes.
It's not a retirement to fulfill your dream. It's like, no, how can I do it now? And because of that strong desire for personal development and for living the daydream, I think that we've acknowledged the disconnect with the system that's super outdated of your 2 weeks vacation and a desire for more. than go into a job that you have to drag yourself out of bed every day to go to, and really leaning into the possibility of what more could be. And we're seeing so many new things emerge coming from this. All these online businesses, entrepreneurs, people sharing their wisdom and understanding, taking their traumatic experiences and overcoming them and healing them and helping others. So it's so, so powerful. And I think by proxy, because there's so many people in our generation that are doing this, it's inspiring baby boomers. It's inspiring the Gen Z and the ones behind us that are saying, oh, it is possible. Oh, we can break the mold. So I've even seen an influx of baby boomers coming to work with me. And they're saying, I'm really inspired by the younger generation. So as much as we're put on, I'm giving us permission to take the credit for being trailblazers in this. And I know you feel the same way. So.
I do. I think so. Yeah. So boomers, right? But they grew up in a different area, a time area where, going to work at the 9 to 5 was happiness, living a simple life, having a median income, and going on a one vacation a year was living the dream, because what had happened previously was, the Great Depression and all of this powerful like depression and negative stuff was happening in the world, and it was affecting everyone, and going through all these things. So it was the American dream, right? Have a medium-sized house, one car, go on one vacation with your family, and just work until you retire, right? And now, instead of that American dream, the American dream has changed so much. Now it's come to America, get a laptop and make $1 million, right? Because it's so much more possible. And there's more millionaires now than there ever were in the history, of the United States. People making 5-6 figures, right? And with that change in the American dream and how we perceive what will make us happy, right? We're finding that we make ourselves happy. And there's that level of awareness, right? And I think I know for like my mom and like my dad, who are in their late 60s, early 70s, happiness was determined by your stability, with your income and with your stability within your family. Like you didn't have a divorce, you didn't, all those things, and you had a median income household. Well, now, my mother has said to me, oh, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. I should have followed my dream. It's too late for me now. She's saying those kinds of things to me. I'm like, oh my God, it's not too late. Just do it. And I think that millennials have the tenacity in us to where we are just sitting, we're sitting, on our couch, and I'm like, I could be like Tony Robbins. I'm going to start a channel on Everyday Woman TV. Or, I could be like Oprah. I'm going to go write a book right now. I'm going to start chapter 1 right now. We have that tenacity to just start, right? We don't always see the whole road. We don't always know the steps, but just starting is something that we are very good at, right?
And asking for help, I think, is also huge. If the amount of influx of people that ask for help with mentorship and to speed up the process is huge. And I think also too, there's more things that came up just hearing you speak about like immigration, like immigrants. So I'm from Canada, and it's very similar to the US of having that like American dream. And I think that, my dad was born in Italy, my mom was born here, and I was seeing like both sides kind of play out of, that people pleasing and multifamily and generational people pleasing and wanting to like make the prior generations proud. I talked about this in my book too. It's like, the family immigrated on boats. My grandmother came to Canada on a boat, or had the families living in separate places and coming here to be able to get that education and to get an amazing paying job and getting the house and having a family. Like that's kind of like the main way for a lot of immigrants, that old American dream. And I love now how we're creating that, and we're also living in the process. So timelines may like shift up a bit. We might be having kids later. We might be buying the house later, but we're also living.
Yeah.
You know, we're also living our life. We're building the memories. We're healing the multi-generational trauma. We're doing the things. So as much as people point the finger and say we're the lazy generation, I think it's because it's not the traditional way that they were told to do things, and
we do things just a little bit differently.
yeah.
And I think that in doing so, again, it has created that inspiration for boomers, for Gen Z. You know, Gen Z is behind us and they are wildly successful when it comes to understanding technology, AI, all these things. Like those, they have it going on. Like I'm 31, I'm not great with technology, right? I grew up with it and then I kind of have plateaued with it a little bit. But you know, and I think they know that their world is at their fingertips at this point. If there's an awareness that the younger people have the world at their fingertips, what are you going to do with your life? Well, how are you going to make an impact, right? And I think it gives me goosebumps when I think about it, right? So you know, but when I was graduating, I didn't think to myself, how am I going to make an impact on the world? I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to go get a degree in journalism. I'm going to graduate from IU. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then everything kind of changed for me and it didn't work out that way. And then all that people pleasing stuff came bubbling to the surface, right? Like, and I felt like a failure and this and that. And then it really was just sitting with myself for a little while and thinking, okay, but I don't need a degree in journalism to make myself happy. I don't need to make my parents happy. I need to find something that makes me happy because my happiness it needs to come first. But also if I'm happy, that's really all that matters. It doesn't, the money doesn't really matter. The car doesn't matter. The fancy house really doesn't matter, because when you find something you're passionate about and you go for it and you are helping other people and your heart is in the right place and you have this great intent, the money will come. Like it's not something you need to stress about, right? And I think less and less millennials and Gen Z worry about the money and they worry about what kind of experience we're bringing and having in this world.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's interesting. I have a lot of friends that have taken the mainstream way of doing things that are getting married this year and taking the traditional way. And it's interesting because I see like a lot of entrepreneurs, they're kind of going through that similar thing of maybe they're not where they should be, I'm doing air quotes, of the mainstream way of doing things, but it's also recognizing, wow, look at the growth that I've done. Look at the experiences that I've had in my life and being really grateful and embracing that, that unique path, that trailblazing that we've been doing. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so for people that are watching right now, like right now, they're probably on the edge of their seats and they're super inspired because I'm like really pumped up. I know that you are, you know, a genius when it comes to making those impacts and living in your purpose and living in a meaningful way. And you have some advice for us. So let's dive into that. I think we're doing 3 ways in which you can live a purposeful and meaningful life. So take it away.
Yes. So it really comes down to 3 steps. Really being clear of what a fulfilling life and business looks like for you is the first piece. When I look at when I had my now what moment of what the F am I going to do with my life to where I am now, it really started with tapping into that clarity and that higher level of understanding of, you know what, a fulfilling life to me looks like making an impact. It looks like helping others. It looks like having a lifestyle where I'm free, that I can work from my laptop and travel the world. Really starting to create that, what I call a day in a life of what your dream day would be if you showed up the most confident version of yourself. So ask that question. What would your life look like if you were fulfilled and you showed up as the most confident version of yourself? Get that pen and the paper, let it flow. And if there's any resistance that comes up, be like, yes, and this is what I choose. I'm fully committing to this exercise.
Yeah.
So in that place, when you have that like target, if you will, it's looking at what is the resistance that's coming up for you. Right? Clearing that fear so you can tap into your inner confidence. So it's like, okay, I'm feeling a little bit of self-doubt. I'm feeling a little bit of imposter syndrome. I'm scared of the how. Writing down the limiting beliefs that you have and getting them out of your mind and on paper. Because we have like 60,000 and 80,000 thoughts a day that we're not even truly aware of. So being able to like imagine it leaving your head and out to the paper is very therapeutic. So you have that level of awareness of what you need to shift in your life and what you choose instead.
And that's excellent practice. Like even when you're not like, just in general, a daily practice of getting the fears, the doubts, and all that stuff out, and then going on with your day. That is a great daily practice to just bring more alignment and more abundance into your world, right?
Yes.
That's a big thing with me. And like the law of attraction is like, okay, but what am I already thinking that's going to screw up the rest of my days? Let me get it out, knock it out of here. I'm not having it, right?
And I am the woo woo. You're talking about the woo woo. I am the woo woo. So I think it's also your energy, doing that like meditation, clearing your energy, going out for a walk. If you're not into meditating, go for a walk, throw on your favorite song and dance and move that energy from your body so that you're in this like more chill, relaxed, free space to focus on the third step, which is really about taking the action on it. So writing down, okay, so to achieve this day in a life, what do I hypothesize the steps are going to be to get there? And then numbering off 1, 2, 3. These are the first 3 steps, circling and starting.
Yes.
And because as much as the how happens, like we're like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm like, hypothesize, man. You know it. You know, like if someone was pressing you, if it was coach was there, if I was asking you, okay, let's move through that fear for a second. Okay, what do you think the steps would be? What do you think that Tony Robbins did? Like whatever that may be, you'll have that that starting point.
Yeah. And I think also, we worry about the how a lot because traditionally the how was very important. Right. But we are not traditional anymore. This is 2022. There's nothing traditional about right now. Okay. Like this. So worry less about the how and more into, yes, getting into that action. And sometimes the action that is really going to start that ball I've found is like the smallest little thing. Like when I wanted to start a business, I literally got on Facebook and I joined some groups that women were in business, because I wanted to surround myself with people that I wanted to be like, or that knew more than me, or that could share their experiences. And all I did was just click join, and then I just kind of hung out in there to see what they were saying. And then that inspired more action and more action and more action. And now I have offers and clients and things that are happening, right? And it all started just because I joined a group on Facebook. And it could, for you guys, it could be Googling something, learning something about, maybe you're into psychology. So learning something about, NLP certification or things like that. Whatever it is, just type it in Google, do some research, feel it out, right? And then your next inspirational, action will come to you, right? Mm-hmm. And it's so simple. I mean, I think people worry when they start a business about the logistics, like the admin stuff, oh, I got to get an LLC. I got to do this. I got to do that. I need a CFO. I need, a team of people that work for me. That stuff comes. But first, just take the little tiny baby steps, because the little tiny baby steps turn into leaps and bounds. And then that stuff just comes to you. And you're like, oh, this is perfect timing. Great. Now I can hire a CFO. Or you've already met somebody who can be your teammate, or because you've just started with the littlest tiny stuff, right? It's not build a business overnight. It's not a pop-up overnight thing, but you're going to find happiness while you're taking these little steps. You're going to feel fulfilled. You're going to feel like you're helping people. And that just keeps that momentum going, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Amazing. I love it. I love it so much. So just to recap, so step 1 is get really clear, right? Step 2 is get all that negative crap out of your head, right? And then 3 is our action. And it's very simple 3 steps to get you guys started. Cassandra, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast. I could talk to you all day. I love it.
I know. We get going. I love it too. You guys, if you want to reach out to Cassandra, I know she would be happy to talk to you guys. I have all of her links here at the bottom. You can also check out her book, Now What? I've got that linked here as well. And again, thank you for joining us today. And thank you guys for watching. And we will see you on the next one.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.